You ever load into a game and before the match even starts, you already feel tired? Not because you hate gaming, not because you don't want to play, but because gaming today feels like a second job. Battle passes, daily challenges, limited time events, XP boosts, season resets, weekly rewards, and login bonuses. And somehow, the thing that used to help us relax now feels like something we have to keep up with. Tonight on XP After Dark, we're talking about when the grind stops being fun. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of XP After Dark, the late night gaming podcast where we talk gaming, content creation, streaming, and everything happening in the gaming world. I'm your host from Legacy Gaming XP, and tonight we're talking about something I think a lot of gamers are starting to feel. Gaming burnout. Not burnout from life, not burnt out from work, burnout specifically from trying to keep up with modern games. And honestly, I think a lot of developers accidentally created a system where players never really feel finished anymore. Back in the day, you unlock things because they were cool. Now you unlock things because a timer is counting down. And there's a huge difference between those two feelings. So tonight, we're going to talk about why modern games feel exhausting sometimes, why battle passes changed the gaming forever, why older progression systems felt better, and how gaming started feeling more like maintenance than fun. So grab a drink, kick back, relax, and welcome to XP After Dark. One thing I missed about older gaming was how simple it all felt. You bought the game, you played the game, and that was that. No rotate store, no 17 different currencies, no premium plus ultra deluxe battle pass. You just played because the game itself was fun. And yeah, older games still had grinding. Call of Duty had camo grinds. Halo had ranking systems. MMOs definitely had endless grinding. But it felt different because the grind was connected to the game, not to a seasonal timer. If you wanted a camo in old COD games, you could unlock it whenever. No expiration date, no fear of missing out. Now, you miss a season and suddenly there's like 100 cosmetics gone forever. And I think that changes the psychology of gaming completely. Developers realize something. If players are scared to miss content, they'll keep logging in. That's why so many games now are designed around retention instead of fun. The goal isn't always, how do we make the best experience? Sometimes the goal feels more like, how do we keep players online every single day? And honestly, players can feel that. You can feel when a game respects your time, and you can definitely feel when a game is trying to manipulate your time. That's why so many games nowadays say they miss older multiplayer experiences. Because back then, gaming felt more relaxing. Now it feels like everybody's rushing to complete a checklist before the season ends. I think Battle Pass has completely changed the way people play games. Don't get me wrong, I understand why they exist. Games are more expensive to make now. Live service games need constant updates. Servers cost money. Developers need recurring revenue. I get it. But at the same time, Battle Passes train players to stop playing naturally. Now people play for the progression first and fun second. Think about it. How many times have you logged into a game and instead of asking, what do I want to do, you ask, what challenges do I need to finish? That's a completely different mindset. And once gaming starts feeling like task management, burnout starts happening fast. Especially when every game has a battle pass. Call of Duty has one, Fortnite has one, Apex has one, Destiny has one. Even games that don't need one somehow manages to have one. At this point, it feels impossible to keep up unless gaming is your full-time job. And the craziest part, most people don't even finish the passes they buy. So now players feel pressure to play games they aren't even enjoying just because they already spent the money. That's actually kind of wild when you think about it. A system designed to increase engagement sometimes ends up making players enjoy gaming less. And I think more developers are finally starting to realize that, because lately there's been a growing pushback against overly aggressive live services systems. Players want games that respect their time again, not games that guilt trip them into logging in every day. You know what older games did really well? They made progression feel meaningful. When you unlock something rare, it actually meant something. Like seeing someone with a crazy camo in old Call of Duty, or high level armor in Halo, or rare cosmetics in older MMOs. You knew they earned that. Now, sometimes progression is just temporary, because everything resets every season. Rank resets, battle pass resets, meta resets, events disappear. Nothing feels permanent anymore. And I think that's part of why players don't feel attached to modern multiplayer games the same way. Older games gave you long-term goals. Modern games give you temporary objectives. There's a huge difference. One creates memories, the other creates urgency. And urgency can be exciting for a little while, but after months or years, it gets exhausting. That's why so many games are returning to single-player games, survival games, cozy games, older multiplayer titles. People want freedom again. They want to log on because they want to play, not because a timer is screaming at them. And honestly, I think gaming companies underestimate it, how important that feeling really is. Now, if you're a content creator or streamer, this problem gets even worse. Because not only are you trying to keep up with games, you're also trying to keep up with algorithms. You gotta upload consistently, stay relevant, cover updates, play trending games, post shorts, go live, clip content, edit videos, do this, do that. And suddenly the thing you love doing starts feeling like non-stop pressure. I think that's why so many creators disappear for a while. Not because they don't care, not because they're lazy, but because mentally the grind becomes overwhelming. And I know I'm a victim of this. For those that don't know, when I first started my content journey, I was known as Unlucky Agenda over on Twitch. I've built a pretty decent community over the years of streaming over there. I had a blast. But somewhere at some point, my mental took a toll because I was so focused on the next big thing, staying current, getting that clip out, getting this video out, gotta do this, gotta do that, and I drained myself. I completely maxed myself out to the point where I did not enjoy it at all, one bit, because I was under the mentality of you have to be relevant, you have to play this X title here, insert popular game title. And I got burned out. I rebranded. Took about a month off, rebranded to Goose. Same thing happened. Burnout. And now that I'm back as Lazy Gaming XP, I'm creating the content that I enjoy creating. Not because there's a popular title out. Not because it's gonna pull views off the rip. I'm creating content I enjoy. Like the XP After Dark podcast. That is a passion project of mine that I've been working on. Streaming over on YouTube. Playing the games that I want. I'll be doing some playthroughs over here on the channel. Creating no commentary, relax, vibe gaming videos. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent. Now back to regular scheduled programming. Gaming content moves fast. Miss 1 week and suddenly there's a new meta, a new season, a new update, a new controversy, a new trending game. It never stops. And honestly, that's one reason I wanted XP After Dark to feel different. I wanted this series to feel more chill, more real, more conversational, not just screaming at the camera every 5 seconds, not chasing every trend, just talking about games. Because I think a lot of people miss that slower, relaxed side of gaming culture. Not everything needs to be hyper competitive. Not everything needs to be optimized. Sometimes it's okay to just relax and vibe. At the end of the day, I don't think grinding in games are bad. Grinding can actually be really satisfying. The problem starts when the grind becomes stressful instead of rewarding. When you stop playing because you enjoy the game and start playing because you feel obligated. That's usually the moment burnout begins. And honestly, I think more gamers need to give themselves permission to slow down. You do not need every battle pass. You do not need every event reward. You do not need to keep up with every game. Gaming is supposed to be entertainment. It is supposed to be fun. And if a game starts feeling exhausting, it's okay to take a break. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to go back and play something simple, something relaxing, something that reminds you why you fell in love with gaming in the first place. Because deep down, I don't think people actually fell out of love with gaming. I think people got tired, and there's a difference. But yeah, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of XP After Dark. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to Lazy Gaming XP, and let me know down in the comments. Do modern games feel exhausting to you sometimes, or do you actually enjoy the non-stop grind? I'm genuinely curious what people think. Have you been supporting the series so far? Seriously, thank you. XP After Dark has been a really fun project to work on, and we're only getting started. Until next time, stay safe, stay chill, and keep gaming.